The Cherry Silver Benefit Home Show, April 7th and 8th, benefiting the UNM Children's Hospital, Popejoy Hall, and Anderson School of Management. See exhibitors feature windows, doors, kitchen, bath, sunroom, stucco. The Cherry Silver Benefit Home Show at Dreamstyle Arena, The Pit.
Nothing completes a trip downtown like a visit to Lindy's Cafe. You won't find a more relaxing restaurant to unwind at. Located on 5th and Central, proud supporters of Proview Networks, Lindy's strives to be a friendly and welcoming place.
Lindy's, a great place to be seen.
I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Welcome to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Ed Nunez. Scott Galletti is on assignment. Our special guest today is Buster Mabry, the Executive Director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. Buster, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
And we talked about Scott Galletti being on assignment. He's actually got, a little Hawaii Rainbows action. They assigned him to do some mainland games. So I want to give a shout out to the host of the show. He's a good friend. And, I'm really happy for him. He sent out the app to me, and I just haven't had a chance to listen, but it's a great opportunity for him.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. I read about it in the newspapers where I saw it, then I saw it a little bit on social media, and I like Scott. He's always the ultimate professional, and he'll do a great job at it.
Yeah, it's funny. I tease him a little bit because the picture that he sent out as the press release was one of him when he was here at UNM. And so I told him, I said, Scott, there's no gray in that picture, man. That's about a picture of about 10 years ago. But I think you're right in about his ultimate professionalism. I've learned a lot from him. He prepares, and it's a dream for him because he's got a foot in the door already, because of his experience. So best of luck to Scott Galletti.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, Buster, we wanted to talk about the 2018 All-Metro Basketball Awards show, and you and I had a chance to visit on the phone a couple weeks ago, and it's going to be a little bit different. You want to talk about that?
Well, I think a little bit of the difference is who's hosting the event and who is actually creating that event, and that is Proview Networks and New Mexico High School Coaches Association. So we're excited about the partnership. We're looking forward to doing a few things differently. One of the things, we're going to give out a little bit different awards. Some of the big awards, the coaches aren't picking them anymore. We're going to use local media, and we're going to use kind of a committee to pick the Coach of the Year, the Mr. and Miss All-Metro Basketball Players of the Year, Defensive Players of the Year. Then we're going to do a special award this year called the Hero Award. And that's an award we're going to give to a student athlete that goes up and beyond the game itself. And so many of these students are doing great things beyond the court, and we want to highlight that a little bit. So we're excited excited about the new show. It's going to have a lot of the same formats. We're still going to do the 6A teams, first, second, and third team, and 4A, 5A. But we're going to create some new awards, and we're excited about it.
You know, Buster, I want to ask you this: is that the show itself? And back in the day, you know, you and I are old-time athletes, and I believe you played at Hobbs. Is that,
yes,
is that
sir.
true?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so I played at Highland, and back in the day, it was a banquet. You know, we had banquets, and I remember going to those banquets, and it was always an honor. Even when I was at 8th grade at Holy Ghost, a banquet up at Bella Vista. So things have changed a little bit, and you want to tell us the overall changes that you made from the coaches show, which was pretty good, I thought. You know, Mike Adams was your MC, did a great job, and you know, so we have some changes around the edges here, and you know, you mentioned the coaches and the media is going to get involved as far as picking the awards. So do you want to mention why these changes are coming about? And again, you know, they're probably going to be good, but just why the overall change, because the coaches show itself, the way you did it was pretty good.
Yeah, let's look at it for two reasons. One, we made an overall change away from banquets about 3 or 4 years ago, and we've done this in just about everything that I'm involved with, and because of the cost. I mean, you have a banquet, and you ask families to come there, and the meal's going to cost us, the host, $25 a piece. And if you give the kids their free meal, that's $25. So to pay for that meal, we've got to charge at a minimum $30, and then we got to hope that 3 or 4 family members show up paying $30 a piece to make that balance out. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of money. If you're a family,
right. Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Barker told me one time, and I think he's right. You know, his son was getting an award at All Metro Football Show. He's like, Buster, I just spent $150 right before Christmas because he had to bring the girlfriend too. And so we got away from the cost of those banquets. These families have spent enough money. And so what we're trying to do is create a really nice event where we recognize and honor the kids, because that's what's most important, without it costing a whole lot of money. And it is expensive to be in these nice hotels and put on these shows and have all these really nice awards. So we're trying to, you know, offset the cost balance. And that's number one why we've made changes over the last several years. And number two, in regards to basketball, we just feel like that the coaches as an organization are busy, and they've kind of fallen out of way with it, if you will. They're not as interested in putting on the show and doing some of those things as they were back 20 years ago. And so what we're going to do is we told them, because we didn't want the show to die, that we were going to take it over. And the biggest reason why we want to take it over is to ensure that the athletes get represented, that we recognize those best athletes in the metro area. So we're excited about it.
I think I'll tell you what, you know, and I've been a part of, you made me a part of these events, award events for about 3 years now. And I think one of the things that I got out of it as a former athlete, former official, former coach, I love being around young kids and young athletes, is seeing those young kids dressed up. I remember Sandia last year, the Sandia Matadors, the girls champions. You know, how proud they were with Coach, I can't remember his name, Coach, I can't remember. Lee Keddick.
Yes, sir.
Lee Keddick. I remember, you know, how proud they were to represent as champions. And you know, again, you see these kids, we see them in uniform and on the floor and on the field, and when you see them dressed up and really made up, it's an honor to be there. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about, and trying to say that. I remember too, and I know you remember going to these banquets as a kid, and you heard your name called, and man, it's a moment. It's a moment. And I remember, at least for me, Buster, now every kid got, you know, when I announced the names, everyone got the same, but the champs got a little bit more flavor, man. And I teased the kids when they came up. I said, hey, you're the champs, man, so you got a little bit more pizzazz, and a little bit more octaves. Not that everybody else wasn't as important, but the champs.
Champ is the champ, man.
Yeah.
When you're the champ, hey. And you got a little bit more moxie about you, and you're a little bit more excited to be there. You know, one of my highlights in all this, Ed, is before you announce the athletes' names, I'm off to the side, and I got my hand on their shoulder, and I'm asking them questions, and I'm teasing them a little bit, and that's my favorite moment, because they're excited, they're a little bit nervous, because they're fixing to be on a stage with all these bright lights, and they are going to hear their name read, and they've got their medal around their neck, and they're all wearing that medal proudly. And so that's my favorite moment, is I get to grab them and tease them a little bit and just kind of be around great athletes, because they are great athletes. And anymore, these young men and women, they're athletic, they're big, they're tall, they're kind of, you can just tell. And it's amazing at who they are and what they've accomplished. And so it's our honor to honor them, I guess.
One of the things is, I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely right. It's a different training regimen that you and I grew up with. No doubt about it. I was at Rio Rancho baseball field a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Ed Gato. His son plays for Academy. Nick Gato plays third base. And they brought up this 8th grader. And this kid, and I was telling Ed Gato, I said, Ed, he looks like he's an 8th grader. He looked like he was in 12th grade already. His arms are huge. He's already developed. So as far as when you mention athletes and the way people are different as far as athletes, I was a skeleton in 8th grade, man. And back then for basketball players, they didn't want you to lift weights because they said it messed with your shot. Nutrition, training is at an all-time high now, Buster. There's no doubt we're going to have Chester Fuller from the Elite Sports Academy on with us in the next segment, or the next 2 segments, and he's going to tell us more about that. But you're right. When you see these kids, you're like, gosh, we never looked like that at that age.
No, absolutely. And I've coached track for a long time, and I think it's a pure athletic sport. And I can remember back in the 90s when, 5A or 4A, whatever we were back then, I had a kid that got 6th place at the state track meet, and he jumped 18 feet 9 inches. Right? You can't even get 6th place on the girls' side of things at 18 feet 9 inches today. And on the boys' side, you better be jumping 22 to 23 feet. That's how far we've come. Now, we had guys back in the 90s jumping 20 feet 6 inches, barely making it to 21. But I think that's just an example of the different level of athleticism. In football, they're bigger, faster, stronger. They're more dedicated to our sport. I think our coaches are better and better every year at training, at getting these kids ready, and it's amazing. I mean, the DNA, just bigger, faster, stronger, and these kids are doing things that we couldn't even imagine when we were younger. And it's just the truth, and a lot of people don't believe that, but get out there and stand by them, be around them a little bit, and you'll notice it.
Well, growing up, again, I played at Highland. We had a decent team, but growing up, I watching the Hobbs, Wallace Williams, Jeff Taylor. We sat right there on the first. We were so enamored and stunned and awed by them, because they'd walk in, and I tell people this, with those jackets that had the eagle, and an aura would go over the pit, a mumble, a murmur, like, oh, there's hops, and then the songs, I remember the fight song, like, right, and so they were so good, and they knew it, but the way that Coach Tasker had themselves carry themselves were just as such fine young gentlemen and fine examples. I never forgot that, Buster. I remember getting to play in the North-South game against Wallace Williams, and you don't forget stuff like that against Jay Willman, and you just don't forget growing up. And as you mentioned, each generation changes, and you're going to see even more. It's hard to believe, but even in 10 years, 15 years from now, we'll see even better athletes.
Absolutely. It's amazing where we're going to be in 20 years, and I look forward to just enjoying it.
I don't think you're a guy, Buster, man. Speaking with the executive New Mexico High School Coach Association Director Buster Mabry on the sports desk, you're a guy that enjoys youth, man. It comes out of your pores. Your wife Lori is a Stevel's girls head coach, and together, gosh, man, what passion and what kind of conversations go deep into the night about teams, sports, athletics, kids. I can only imagine.
I'm a believer in coaches. I'm a believer in interscholastic coaches and the difference and the impact they make on the lives of our student athletes. And coaches changed my life, and coaches are changing lives every day. And believe it or not, that's what Lori and I talk a lot about. We talk about great coaches, kind of coaching styles, coaching philosophies. Once I get to know each one of our teams, it's always fun to watch those kids grow. And it's across the entire state. And I do have a great job, and that's one of them, one of the reasons why.
And I think, just giving back, and, I've kind of worked in that kind of field too, and that the kids that remember you later. I've had kids remember me that I don't remember, but that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
When you hear, hey, coach, hey, coach.
Right, and you could be in a room of a million coaches.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We'll take a break. We'll be back on the sports desk with one more 15-minute segment with Buster Mabry after these messages. Got a little side.
Middle to Cedric Johnson, spins in, touchdown, Cedric Johnson.
That's a beauty. No chance. They'll throw the runner out. Gets away.
Nobody at second base.
Nobody home. Cuts back towards the middle. Bray, a lot of room out in front. He's in! Touchdown! Back outside. Same spot out to right. Martinez going back, still going on his horse, and it's gone! A two-run homer for Roy Jennings. It just kept on sailing. Bill Cox comes on, makes
double
the catch. We're going to have a double play, and that's going to be the ball game. They set him in motion. Got time to throw. Still surveying, going to the end zone. Caught! Caught! What a catch from Dello! A diving catch and set. Don't take a high hop. The front man, Dello Davis, will take this one. He's running behind Bray. Davis has a hole. He's got one more man to beat. He didn't get him. Now he's going to cut right, and he answers for the touchdown. We'll let that one get back to Dello Davis. Davis turns on the Jets, a lot of green in front. He's got the kicker to beat, and he's not going to touch him. That's a touchdown for Dello Davis. Get it to Bray, Antonio. Oh, hurdles in.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam Deal with Proview Sports Network, and we got something big coming your way on April 15th. It's the 2018 All-Metro Basketball Award Show. It's powered by the New Mexico High School Coaches Association and Proview Networks on April 15th. You can check out our websites for all the details. We've got special awards coming your way, including Mr. and Mrs. Basketball. That's Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Game of the Year, All-Metro Hero of the Year, and the All-Metro teams voted on by your coaches. Don't forget to check out all the details. You can check out our website. Don't forget, it's April 15th here on Proview Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk. I'm Ed Nunez. We're speaking with Buster Mabry, the Executive Director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. In the first segment, Buster, we probably kind of got sidetracked about athletes and banquets and what kids go through these days and how much better trained they are. But you know what? I think it wasn't bad because you and I both love kids. We both love athletes. We've been around. You mentioned you've been a principal. You've done a lot of things. You've worked at the NMAA. You've been at the Executive Director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association for 10 years. You've officiated high school basketball. You got the love. You've got that love and that passion, and you can't hide that. You really can't, because I swear when I see young kids succeed, I think that's why working at Proview Networks for me, when I couldn't officiate anymore because of my knees, you just can't keep running for 22 years. I did it for 22 years. But I think it gave me an opportunity to stay in the game. And I've seen three levels, thank God. I played and I coached and I refed. Now I'm a broadcaster, and sometimes I got to curtail my passion because I see so many things, and my son is my color commentator, and we see things together, and sometimes it's like, man, together, because we talked about these conversations in the back seat on the way home from practice for years. So sometimes I got to corral myself.
No, it's exciting. I mean, I tell you what, interscholastic sports, high school sports, it's a staple of our country. It's almost a fabric in which we all have been woven together in a lot of ways. I mean, even whether you're in a big community or you're in a small community like Springer or Des Moines or down south in Animas, I mean, the community rallies around those kids, and it's a great time. It's great to have everybody looking at you and rooting for you as an athlete, and it's great to just give back and be a part of that. And I mean, I've been getting up and going to school or getting up and going watching games pretty much my whole life, and I'm proud to have done it as a career for sure.
You mentioned Animas, and I remember going to Melrose to do a championship football game. The whole town's there, man, and they won. And man, like you said, does it mean any less to Melrose than it does to a 6A school? Or of course it doesn't.
No, and I'll tell you what, Ed, it doesn't make a difference where you're at, what state, whether this state has better athletes or this state doesn't have better athletes. For example, on Friday night, it's Friday night football, and I don't care where you are in America. When you jog on the field underneath the Friday night lights, it's football, it's great, and it's a lot of fun. And it doesn't matter where you're at or whether you're big school or small school or you're the biggest athlete or you're not. It's going out there and competing with your friends, camaraderie, and it is a great thing in our country.
No doubt about it. We're going to get back to the 2018 All-Metro Awards basketball show. I believe it's April 15th. April 15th.
Yes, sir, at Embassy Suites Hotel. And we're going to open the doors at 5:30. We're going to start the show at 6, and we're going to be done at 7:45. If not, we got to fire all the people working and get new people. Because we ain't going to go more than an hour and 45 minutes.
That's an aggressive agenda, and I know how you like things done. You're pretty geared. When you have your mind made up, this is what's up, here's the agenda, you always send it to us, or to me in the past. What I wanted to ask you about is about the Mr. and Miss All-Metro Basketball, kind of a new award. And that, to me, when I hear that right away, and you said for people that go beyond the scope of just basketball, please explain.
Well, Mr. and Miss All-Metro Basketball Player of the Year kind of replaces what we've done in the past. Is the way the coaches did it at each classification, 6A, 4A, 5A, 1A through 3A, whoever was the top vote getter from all the coaches got Player of the Year. And there would be 3 Players of the Year. We've changed that up this year. We want to recognize the best male and female basketball player in the metro area. Just one. And there's always the best. And we want to pick that person, we want to identify them, and we want to recognize them as Mr. and Miss All-Metro Basketball Athlete of the Year. And so we're excited about it. And the beauty of these things, Ed, is I don't choose them. Now, I get all the dirty emails and I get the mean phone calls and all these things, All-Stars, All-State, All-Metro, but the beauty of my role is that I am pretty much the organizer. organizer-in-chief, if you will, but I don't pick the teams. I will pick these athletes, and it's good for the Coaches Association as an organization to be to not be the one that actually chooses it, but rather be the one that organizes it. So I don't know, who are you going to vote for this year?
You know what? I submitted my votes. It's a secret ballot. I can't, tell you who. We've already voted here at Proview Network. So, of course, there's the usual players that you vote for with the girls: SB Vados, Amaya Brown. There's some great players in the city: Jordan Arroyo, Isaiah Ramos, Anthony Chavez. There's so many good players, and I think one of the things that's key that you mentioned, is that you don't pick the teams. You don't, and right away, believe me, I know, because we all have egos. When I was a ball player, I made first team all district. That was good for me, but of course you want more. I was lucky enough to get in the North-South game as an alternate. They called 2 other guys before, and they said no. And then later I looked at it like, how in the heck could you say no to? I couldn't believe it. My son always gives me a hard time. Dad, I don't care if I was an alternate or not. I ran down the ramp with him, man.
And you're not an alternate when you step on the court.
That's
you're
right.
a player.
That's right.
You are a player.
But so, Buster, I think the people that that are watching, they need to understand how tough the job is, and the coaches all voted on it, like you said. And there's some great awards that we saw: Game of the Year, Boys Game of the Year, Girls Game of the Year, Men's Coach of the Year. And, people will look at it, even when that award is given, there's going to be some jealousy and envy, and there always is. But, gosh, if you won that, you can, again, remember, we got memories, and, that's what us old ball players here in the city do. We always go back and say, hey, I killed you for 20. I killed you. We do that. And stories get bigger, like Al Bundy. They get, I scored 50. I scored 60. That's all we have left. So if you get that award as the Player of the Year, are you kidding me, man?
No, I got you. Oh, that's great. And here's the thing. I even want to tell everybody about this. These are objective decisions, a lot of times based on subjective logic. And who's the best? Well, first off, it's all about matchups. Sometimes it's all about good nights and bad nights. Everybody likes to look at stats, but stats don't tell an entire story. So really what we can do is we make a collective decision. And that collective decision is probably the best we can do. And we never get it 100% right. And I never put out a team from my office that somebody doesn't call me. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions that I throw at parents a lot of times, grandparents, when they call and they're upset that their athlete or this athlete didn't make it, and a lot of times I ask, well, which kid do you want me to take off the team to put your kid on it? And it changes the perspective a little bit, because the kids that make it from a collective standpoint doesn't mean that we're 100% right, but it does mean that the majority thought this, and in the end that's the best we can do. But I think we get it right for the most part. I really do. And I think people give their honest opinion, and everybody's got a little favorites, and that's okay, but we just do our best. But the purpose is to recognize kids.
That's a bottom line, and sometimes lost in all the shuffle and people getting upset. Is that what is? They forget that it's about the kids, always about the kids, always should be about the kids. The other award I want to ask you about, and this is new as well, Hero of the Year award. And you know what? Whenever I hear the word hero, I always think of those firefighters in 911. Those, when I visited New York in the memorial, gosh, if you're not touched by that, if you don't leave that place with some tears in your eyes. So I always think about heroes, but there's heroes in all walks of life.
Yes, sir.
So talk about the Hero of the Year.
You talk about those firemen and those type of guys. They're heroes because they give something bigger than themselves. They're willing to give up their own self-identity or their own individuality to make a difference in the lives of others. And we want to recognize this in some of our student athletes. We have student athletes that are beyond being great students and going to practice and being the best athlete they can be. They go up and beyond to make a difference for others. And we want to recognize those athletes this year. We have several stories that are coming in, and so this is a new award for us. And these kids are amazing. Everyone always talks about all these kids this day, the millennials. They want something for nothing, and they have all these things that we look about to these young people, but young people are amazing and they're doing amazing things, and we need to see those things and we need to promote those things, and that's what this award's about.
You know what? I think you're absolutely right. And each generation is different, Buster. I'm sure my mom and dad said, thought things like, oh, how are you going to succeed? Although they put me in several positions to succeed, and we did. My brother, my sister, and I. And you're right. Millennials, they can say this and that, but they want some of the same things. They're different as far as their approach, and that's okay. They can't be like everybody else. That's why it's a different generation. Like the 50s was different, 70s, 90s. Now it's the 2000s. I have no problem with that. I know you don't either.
No, I don't either. I mean, I think they're amazing. There's some amazing people. There's some amazing people here in the Proview office, all but one. And, those guys around here are all pretty cool, too, doing great things. All but one. There's one that we're not going to give any credit to, all right?
We won't mention who that is. He just walked through here, but actually, you know what? He deserves a lot of credit, and I know you're just you're teasing him a little bit. But I think, Buster, I think one of the things that people want to know is why should people go to the award show? Why should they go?
Because these kids deserve your recognition. That's why they've worked really hard. They've prepared their game. They've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to be the best athlete they can be and support their community. They don't wear their name on their back. They wear the name of their community on their front of their shirt, and they're representing you. And so we should go out and we should represent them and recognize them. And that's why we have this show. It's a great night. You want to see these kids smile from year to year. You want to see them dress nice. You want to be at this event on April 15th at Embassy Suites because it's an outstanding night. It really is, and these kids deserve your recognition.
One of the things, too, that you mentioned about the kids and the way they work as far as how hard they work all year, and they do. And I think when I think about coaches, too, and I always think about Damian Segura, the St. Pius head coach who coached my son, and coaches that you played with or played for, Coach Tasker. You knew Coach Tasker real well. And what kind of time do they spend? And you mentioned role models. I still talk to Coach Glenn Lucero from Highland, Coach Bill Duffy from St. Pius. They're still coached to me. So these coaches that you mentioned, I think they deserve honor as well because of the time that they spend. It's not just 8 to 5. It's not. Right. It could be 8 to 12 midnight because players call you. They want to. It's just there's more than just basketball or football or whatever sport that they're coaching. It's much more than that.
And especially with interscholastic coaches, they're different. They're different in not only do they have to perform and represent the community with the community's name on their chest, but they're different in that they have a responsibility to ensure those kids maintain their grades or academic status, the development of character, which we carry through into the community. And so interscholastic coaches are different. They make an impact every day. And I'll say it again, they're changing lives. Right now, they're getting to work at 6:30 in the morning, oftentimes selling the burritos so that they can buy a top, and then they're in class all day. They're teaching class throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, they're given another 2.5 to 3 hours. And before you know it, they've been there from 6:30 to 6:30. That's a 12-hour day. And now they're going home with their own kids and having dinner with their kids for a couple of hours. So they're spending more time with those student athletes than they're all their own families oftentimes. And plus giving up the summers and they just care about it so much. And so they're honorable, and I recognize them as really the leaders of our athletes and our students in our society.
And you've seen that, your entire life, and I don't think anybody epitomizes more than that. Again, she's joined by a lot of great coaches as well as your wife, Lori Mabry, the Seablood girls head coach.
She's a pretty good coach. She really is. And I'll tell you this, Ed, she cares. And she had a great team this year, and she has a little bit of talent on the team. She had a Maya Brown, but I will say this: she worked as hard as this year as she's ever had, and I think as a coach, she was probably had her most successful year that I've seen her in coaching. And I've been around her teams for the past 8 years, and she's had a lot of talent. And a lot of times people will say, "Well, you got a Maya Brown, of course you're going to win." And yes, a Maya Brown makes you better, but there's 11 other kids on that team, and they're not all Maya Brown.
No, true.
And they won with all 12, 13 of those kids, and so I'm very proud of her. She's very good, and she was 3.2 seconds away this this year.
No, I saw what she posted.
You know, it's what's hard about that is I haven't missed a Hobbs Eagle basketball game in the last 15, 20 years. They had boys or girls. I go on when Taskovich plays the fight song, I stand. And I told Joe Carpenter this year that when they won that game in dramatic fashion at the end, I should have been all super excited for the Hobbs Eagles, but I really wasn't.
Oh man, there's some bittersweet feelings there.
Oh, it was tough, man. It was tough.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, it was tough.
Buster Mabry, Executive Director of New Mexico High School Coaches Association. Thanks so much for being our guest.
You, sir.
We sure appreciate it. See you at the awards show. We'll be back on the sports desk after these messages.
The all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico High School athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you.
The Sports Desk, I'm Ed Nunez. Scott Coletti is on assignment. Thanks to Buster Mabry from the Executive Director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. Our next guest in this segment is Chester Fuller Jr. from the Elite Sports Academy, one of the sponsors of Proview Networks. Chester, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ed. It's always good to see you, man. Thank you guys for having us. We got a lot going on over at Elite, and I'm glad to be here so we can let the people know here in the city what we got going on for these kids this summer.
Well, you know what, we're excited to have you on, because when I think of the Old Town Boys Club, where you're at now, you know, your location, and you remodeled it, you remodeled the floor. That's where I grew up playing basketball. Now, people don't understand and remember, but back in the day, there was no AAU basketball. And, you know, kids just think automatically, and if you tell them this too, Chester, you know, I've told kids that when I played, there's no three-point shooting, or no three-point line. Right. And so they'll look at you like, huh? So they really liken it to a time when Dr. Naismith invented the game with peach baskets. You had to go on the ladder. They just don't get it. Right. They don't understand. Yeah. So Chester, tell us about picking that site. Number one, remodeling. We'll go over, you know, the other sports things that you're doing there, because if people look and see what kind of shape Chester's in here, you might be able to do that with your high school athlete. So tell us about finding that place, Chester, and why you chose that location.
Well, you know what? It was a process. It's not easy trying to find a location. price-wise. You know, the realtor. Real estate, I guess I should say, is can be kind of pricey, but we did our due diligence and we were able to locate the Boys and Girls Club, which is iconic. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's so many people that have affiliation. I mean, every time we have an event at our facility, whether it's a tournament, a game, or just our memberships, maybe a grandpa will bring a kid in that's a member there, and he'll be like, I used to come here and play ball here back in the 60s, in the 70s, you know? Obviously, you have a great memory, memories from being there. You know, Henry T. You know,
Henry T. was the executive director of the Boys Club. So yeah,
and there's so it holds a special place in the heart of a lot of people here in New Mexico. And so when we got it, it was just like, this is where we need to be. There was something, you know, all the stars lined up, and it's worked out for us fantastically. And you know, the location is perfect. You know, getting off on Rio Grande, and anywhere in the city you can be there within 15-20 minutes. So it's really nice. I mean, it's convenient.
When you mentioned that about it being iconic, look where it's located. Number one, it's in Old Town, historic Old Town.
That's right.
Number two, I wanted to ask you this because you're a retired firefighter, by the way. You know, you did your 20 years at the city and you retired a young man, which was great for you. You know, former Manzano star, former Texas Tech football star. Your father, for those that don't know, and there's very few that don't, the former New Mexico Lobo great back in the 70s, and a great basketball player, but we'll get into that later. An even better person, which counts more than just being an athlete, believe me. We know that. Yeah. So when you went to this location, and I remember it, you know, what kind of work renovation wise were you looking at, and what did you have to do? Because you know you wanted it different. You wanted the wood floor. You wanted, and I got to go visit. I haven't even seen it. Yeah. So what did you have to do?
Well, here's the thing, Ed, and I'm glad you brought that up because it was kind of depressing to see the state of the facility the way it was. It had been flooded, and so the interior flooring, everything was destroyed.
It was gutted.
It was gutted. A lot of the walls, the borders, everything was bad. The roof, it was leaking in like 20 different spots. So we had to go in and we had to make a lot of modifications. You know, we went to Denver. We were fortunate to find an amazing maple hardwood floor that we purchased out in Denver. We got it here. We had some guys out of San Antonio come in and install it. And then we got this sports mat, polyurethane sports mat that we use on the auxiliary side of the gym, where we do a lot of our plyometric speed agility training, things like that we'll get into in a little while.
Right.
Of course, lots of paint, right? Lots of TLC, and we were able to get it to where, now we're not where we want to be yet with it. There's still a lot of things that we're doing as far as laying turf out back. We're sitting on 1/4 acre out back. So we got some turf donated to us from Manzano Day School, and God bless them for that. And so we're going to take that. We're going to turf the whole 1/4 acre back there so we can do some flag football stuff, some soccer stuff. A lot of our training we'll do outside because of the great weather we have here, you know? So, but yeah, the modifications are still ongoing, right? But, you know, it's our 3rd year and we're loving it. We're loving it.
Man, I'll tell you what, when you said it was...
When you come see it,
I'm not going to be able to leave it. Because as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time there I played for St. Pius Summer League, and I've spent a lot of time there. Glenn Lucero, the former Highland coach, was from Old Town, and he repped a lot of the games down there, and you know, we had our own little rivalries with Old Town, and you know, we really did. Gosh, I hated losing to them, man. And you know, that goes back in the day. I hate losing at anything.
Hate losing, period.
Oh, man. But I think that, you know, the things that you've done there, it just sounds like amazing work as far as getting it to be where you want to be, and it's still a work in progress. And what I want to ask you, did you go to a draftsman to draft your plan? Because you know you're a visionary. You want things a certain way. Absolutely. And you want to help the kids of this community of the city of Albuquerque, no matter where they're from. So what was the vision as far as, you know, drafting this plan that you had, or did you have a vision in your mind of with a certain way, or did you benchmark another city to see what you wanted?
Well, that's exactly what we did. So I went to Houston. There's a facility called Legends in Houston. It's in Woodland, Texas, actually. And they have this amazing 100,000 square foot facility where they have like, you know, 10 basketball courts, which translates into like 16 to 18 volleyball courts. They have a weight room. They actually had a daycare in there as well. You know, batting cages, batting tunnels.
Man.
You know, you name it, they had it. A little restaurant. It was wonderful. And then they were sitting on like 15 acres outside. So they had the baseball, softball fields, you know, volleyball field, volleyball, sand volleyball out there. So I sat down with the chief financial officer there, and he was just kind of telling me, hey, these are the things that you probably should do when you implement this, and here's some things that you probably shouldn't do, you know? And our mission was a little different than theirs because there's no education aspect to what they were doing there. It was just all sports development stuff. Whereas we've talked before many a times, but our number one mission is to make sure that our kids in the state of New Mexico receive their degrees and have an opportunity to go to college. Good. So we really focus on the student athlete, the education development along with the athletic development. But getting a lot of our ideas as far as being able to keep the lights on, keep the doors open there, revenue was given to me by legends, and I thank them out there. But it's just an amazing thing that I think we're trying to do for these kids. We're trying to change lives. We're trying to give these kids opportunities to get their education paid for doing something they love athletically. And you know as well as I do, there's a lot of kids here that they may not have the means financially to pay a large amount of money to get that development that they need. And so therefore, that's why we do what we do. It's basically $25 a week to come in, and that includes academic development along with athletic development. You know, you're looking at 32 hours a month for you know, $100 a month. I mean, come on, it's
where are you going to beat that?
Right.
And
so
yeah,
and it's quality though too. I mean, you know, you know when you drop your kids off at Elite, number one, they're safe. Number two, they're learning, and number three, they're having fun. So I mean, what more do you want, right?
Well, you know what, we always talk about a well-rounded person and athlete, and I think one of the things here in New Mexico that we suffer from is, you know, if we're 49th at a lot of things, I get that. We got to change it one brick at a time, like they say. But I'm intrigued by that because education did so much for me in opening doors, you know. And again, not everyone's going to go to college. I understand that as well, you know. But I think to give them the opportunity, and plus, you know, your partner Robert Gallegos, outstanding Rio Grande athlete. Went to Harvard or
to Columbia on an academic scholarship.
From Rio Grande. You know, I think those things have to be mentioned because you know it can happen. It can happen.
It's been done, and it's going to continue to be done as long as we have people kind of giving. I mean, I always pay homage to you and other people that Ed's older than me. If you guys didn't know that, okay? He goes, Ed, don't get offended.
No, not at all.
Ed and my dad are good friends.
Right.
So I had people like Ed in my life that mentored me and said, hey, you know what? You probably don't want to go that direction. Go this way. And if you have resources and people in your life that truly care and believe in you and want you to be successful, then you know, 9 times out of 10 you will, I believe. And so we want to make sure that we provide that to all the kids in New Mexico. Obviously, there's different socio-economical situations that go on in our city, and like you said, we're struggling in a lot of things. You know, education, when it comes to just overall health and the obesity rate for our children. These are things that we recognize, and we try to implement things that'll help people be better. And that's.
I think the important thing too, to me, is it's not athletically. You're developing academics as well, good study habits. You know, I'm glad for us that we were able to send my son to St. Pius. I'm glad, you know, he's going to graduate from law school here in May, and that's a great success story. Now, I understand not everybody has those means either. We're lucky that we did. Right. So we're very blessed. But I think it's, you know what, here's the thing. You and I talked about this a lot, and we're going to get into, well, we'll get into more with Chester Fuller about the Elite Sports Academy after these messages on the sports desk.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
The Barley Brew, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk. I'm Ed Nunez, joined by Chester Fuller from the Elite Sports Academy, Alden Iowani, our great producer in the back. And, you know, Chester, unfortunately, we got sidetracked a little bit about, about the, it's not sidetracked. Let's go into specifics now. You wanted to talk about the summer camps that you're doing and the scholarship fundraisers. Go ahead, lead us into what you want to talk about, sir.
Absolutely. So, starting in June, okay, we're gonna run four-day camps, okay, and they're going to be different. So we'll start off with volleyball, then we'll go into girls basketball, boys basketball. We're going to have a speed and agility and conditioning camp as well, which can basically consume all of the athletes, right? Because all athletes need to be faster,
exactly, yes sir,
right, stronger, right, all that. And then come July is when we get into baseball, softball, football. And we try to make sure we cover all the bases. You know, we at Elite, what we do is we want to make sure that any opportunity that the NCAA is going to give as far as scholarships are the sports that we focus on, if that makes sense, okay? And so what will happen during these camps is we have these amazing instructors that come in, and they just basically take the kids every day from 9 to 1. First of all, we feed them breakfast and we feed them lunch.
Yeah, that's important. Right? Got to have that nutrition.
And lunch, and we talk about that. You know, we talk about nutrition. You know, we kind of hit on that as far as you know, the obesity rate and so on here in the state of New Mexico. But we talk about what you're putting into your body and the importance of putting the right things into your body to be a top athlete, right? And so we do that, and then we get to work. We work hard, man. We work on fundamentals. We have fun, so it's not just, you know, your kid's going to be out there just running up and down and you know, but exert themselves, but they're going to have fun. They're going to learn their sport, whatever it is that they're trying to do, sport-specific training, and then we're going to have a good time, you know, and then they'll be safe.
You know, yeah, keep going, Chester.
Yeah, and so that's going to happen, and that's on our website. All that information, if you just go to elite-sportsacademy.com, and you can see all that information. So hopefully you're planning on, if you haven't figured out what you're doing with your kids yet this summer, this is something that you might want to look into.
$25 a week.
Yeah, it's
food, breakfast, and lunch.
Yeah, it's amazingly affordable, and so look into that. Now, the scholarship aspect is what we're trying to do. We talked about the economic struggles that we have here in Albuquerque, and so what we do as well is we have two major scholarship fundraisers. And what we do is we take those revenues from those 2 events and we provide scholarships to the parents that can't afford the $25 a week, right? And there are some that can't. And so we have this amazing golf tournament that we do at Isleta. It's in September. The actual date this year is to be announced, but we'll have that on the website as well. It's in honor of Chris Gallegos, who's a young man that played multiple sports, football, basketball, ran track in Berlin High. And he happens to be Robert Gallegos, my business partner's nephew, and we lost him last year to a medical emergency. He had a seizure, and we lost him.
Oh, man.
So we do this tournament in his memory, but all the proceeds go towards a scholarship to help these kids. And then we also do somewhat of a casino night for the adults to come in, and we bring in table. You get funny money, and we play blackjack and things like that. But we raise money, and it's like $50 to come in, and all that money goes to the scholarship fund for these kids as well. And that event will happen in July as well. So that's what we got going on, man.
I wanted to ask you, Chester. I mean, like I said, you're one well put together young brother, man. So
I'm getting old, Dad. I'm getting old, man.
Oh, it's funny. You know what, Chester? I look at it, and we all are, and that's what we should savor every day. Savor every day, and people sometimes forget that. And my wife reminds me of that all the time. And I think, what kind of weight facilities do you have there as far as weight training? Now, look, not everyone's going to be, as yoked as Chester Fuller Jr., but Chester Fuller works on his game. And you know what? And I know you're going to show these young kids. And remember, I think one of the things is, too, you and I are competitors. I remember playing basketball with your father at Wilson with, I told you, Bruce Battle, Wendell Taylor, Phil Smith, Russell Saunders. I mean, there was a cast there, man. Right. There really was. Petey Gibson. Oh, man. And, so I don't belong on the floor with these guys, but I'm there.
You're there.
And I'm, you know what?
Competing.
Oh, man. Me and Pete used to go at it, and Petey's way better.
Right.
But, man, I remember a couple times, but, you learn how to compete.
Sure.
Talk about your weight facilities that you have there.
Okay, so we do have a weight room, and we have any and everything you can think of when it comes to weight training. I mean, from head to toe, we develop our kids. We've talked about before, technique and form are 2 of the most important things that you can do when it comes to anything sports related, but especially in the weight room. We stress safety in there as well. As you know, being in the weight room, playing around with those weights, if you're not taking it serious, you can injure yourself.
Oh, yes.
But
the whole thing.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we focus on our core, and then we work up and down from there. So we spend a lot of time stretching, a lot of core work, a lot of ab work, and then of course we get into the essentials. Your squats, your bench press, incline, decline, leg press, all that. So we do it all. And a lot of our kids we get at a young age. We start at 8. Kids aren't allowed to lift in the weight room till they're 13, though. I believe that your body's not ready to do so. And it's not just what I believe, but it's a lot what I've read from different doctors in regards to making sure that you wait and let your body develop, and you don't want to stunt your growth or hurt yourself by getting into weightlifting too soon.
That's always been kind of talked about,
Right.
Is there a standard model that people follow?
Yeah, but
people sometimes go earlier.
Right, they do, but we don't at Elite. But what I will tell you is that there's a lot of resistance training with your own body weight, which is what we do with our younger kids, which develops their strength. Yeah, absolutely. Bands, parachutes, bungee cords, you name it. There's all kinds of things you can do, right? And then there's also old school push-ups and sit-ups, right? Which develops a lot of strength just in itself. And then when it's time for them to get into the weight room and start putting weight on a bar and moving it around, we'll be ready for that as well. I
think one of the things that's important, we got about a couple of minutes left. You train football, basketball, baseball.
Boys and girls.
Anything else we're missing here? Football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah, football, basketball, baseball, golf. I mean,
oh wow.
Yeah, I love golf. So we do that. Swimming, tennis. Like I said, anything that the NCAA gives scholarships for, student athletes, that's what we train on. Because we want those kids to have those opportunities on the next level, like I was fortunate to have.
Oh, well, you know what, Chester, you work for that, and sometimes people, to get to that level, they say they want to, right? But sometimes, man, the mind isn't willing to get that, to do all that. But I think one of the things, I'm certainly, I think one of the things that people, if they're listening, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, it's going to be engaging. It's going to be fun, and you're going to learn something. Chester, we got about a minute left. Okay. Let people know the address, the phone number, website, the whole thing.
Elite Sports Academy, 501 Main Street Northwest, 87120. Phone number 505-615-6963. Elite-sportsacademy.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook as well, and get the kids out and bring them in, and they'll be safe, they'll have fun, and then they'll learn educationally as well as athletically.
And they can register starting at any time for the summer program. Any dates on the summer program, or is there a date? No dates on the summer program, or is it?
It starts the first week of June and goes to the last week of July. All the sports camps. So we just run them consecutively.
I want to thank Chester Fuller Jr. from the Elite Sports Academy. Thanks for being our guest. You bet. Also want to thank Buster Mabry, who was our guest in the first hour, for producer Alden Iwani. I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Sports Desk.